Today is Election Day.
So how might I offend you today? It's better than being a dumb one.
Welcome to the Intelligent Donkey Election Special. I'll keep it brief. First of all, if you have watched all of my videos so far, you'll see this as episode 11, and you'll probably see it as 11 before you see episode 10, because we had a Breaking Bad reaction video that was blocked and has still not yet been unblocked. Any which way, on with the election. Today, we choose 435 members of the House of Representatives, 34 members of the U.S. Senate, and I think somewhere around 40 governors. If you haven't already done so, today is Election Day, and it's not just your constitutional right, but constitutional duty. If you have already voted, great, thank you. Even if you voted for candidates that I do not favor, or a party that I don't favor, thank you. We all need to get out and vote. If you have not yet voted today or as part of the early election, then get out and vote now. That's what you need to do. Everybody needs to get out the vote right away and as soon as possible. There's a legal obligation to all employers around the United States that you must not be forbidden to be able to take time out to go vote. If that means leaving work early today or having arrived late this morning, you cannot be forbidden to take the time out to go vote. Personally, if I had it my way, I would make Election Day a federal holiday, much the same way as they make certain other Monday holidays, and then also eliminate all mail-in voting and all early voting so that we all vote on that special holiday. So there's no excuse whatsoever for having your voice heard and your vote counted. I want to make sure that you also get out and do what we now call vote red, because I don't think that failure to flip the House and Senate is a survivable event for this country. Now, as for my predictions, you know very well from my previous videos that I am definitely not a Democrat, despite the use of a donkey as my moniker. I am solidly behind conservative candidates, whether they happen to be in the GOP or elsewhere, but right now there aren't any conservative Democrats left in the House of Representatives or Senate. So therefore, what I'm hoping for is what they call a red wave. A red wave simply means that there's going to be a GOP flip, that the GOP is going to flip to the Republican side in the House as well as the Senate. The question is going to largely hinge on just how far it goes. In the Senate, to use that first, in the Senate there usually aren't swings that are anywhere near as large as that of in the House. The largest swing ever by either party, +9, which they also had in 1994. The GOP has never had a majority in the Senate larger than 55. A 55 to 45 majority like that. They have had majorities before, several times, but it's almost always been a very small majority. The GOP has been in the minority to the point of a Democrat supermajority on several occasions, but they have not had one since 1980. And at that time, they're coming off of the 1978 election where they did have a supermajority, but have not achieved it since. Thank goodness. The closest they came, however, was in 2009, when for a short while they had one vote short of a supermajority, and then John McCain, a supposedly Republican, was the 60th and deciding vote that they had for a short while. But John McCain was basically a rhino, a Republican in name only, and the primary process is supposed to weed out those that are these rhinos like this. One unfortunate thing is that we are very likely looking at the next Speaker of the House being a rhino, but I'll get to that in a moment. For the time being, we have 34, roughly 1/3 of the Senate is up for election this round. The Senate, every 2 years, elects 1/3 of it because they have a 6-year long term. The maximum I could possibly see in a freak red wave would be a +3. That would be the absolute most that the GOP could possibly realistically get. The worst case scenario would be a -1 for the GOP. In other words, that the Democrats would actually gain 1 seat and then have a clear majority, even though it would be only 51 to 49 in the Senate. But at least the tiebreaker would be taken away for them. They wouldn't have to worry about the fact that right now it is 50-50 split, but effectively in Democrat control. My current prediction is a +2. I am counting, among other things, on a couple of key races happening in favor of the GOP, those being Dr. Oz, or Mehmet Oz, in his victory over John Fetterman in Pennsylvania, Herschel Walker's victory in Georgia, and Kari Lake's victory in Arizona. If we get the 3 of those, we wouldn't even then have to get Nevada or Colorado or New Hampshire, all of which are possible GOP flips. But I'm thinking that they're less likely than the 3 I just mentioned. If those 3 do go Republican, bearing in mind that the Pennsylvania ticket is already Republican, but just with a retiring senator who's not up for re-election, then it'll be a +2 for the GOP, which is sufficient. All they need is a +1 to flip the Senate to Republican control. The House is another matter. Even the liberal-biased press is predicting a red wave. How big? Well, that's another matter. The GOP holds the record of +63 that they did in 2010, so fairly recently, in flipping the House to GOP control. They need a +75 from where they're at right now to gain what's called a supermajority, or a 2/3 majority of the House of Representatives. That's not likely, and neither is a new +63 record. Even the predictors who say that it could be as high as a +50, I don't think are being realistic. CBS News, as an example, is predicting a +18. There are several other news agencies predicting similar numbers. I predict a +28 for the GOP. They only need a +6 to flip the House of Representatives to GOP control. And if that happens, Nancy Pelosi will thankfully no longer be the Speaker of the House. What we need to do, more than anything else, is mute the power of the president. We need to put it out there that we're tired of inflation and we're tired of being blamed for it. We're tired of high gas prices and we're tired of being blamed for it. We're tired of high crime and being told that this is the new normal. We're tired of the woke and cancel culture agendas being shoved down our throats, endorsed and promoted by the very politicians that we put in office, when they're not the majority. We are. The people who have family values, the people who go to work, who want to work, who have a work ethic. The Democrats do not. So let's pray that that happens tonight, at least a gain of 6, so that they put a new Speaker of the House in who can control the Congress and push them towards taking care of some of the problems that we're facing because of the Biden administration. We need to flip both the House and the Senate in order to prevent the Congress of the United States from passing a bill that would essentially codify Roe v. Wade. Regardless of your moral stance on abortion, and I am anti-abortion, regardless of your stance on it, though, everybody, both pro and anti-abortion, need to realize that Roe v. Wade was never a law. Despite the fact that even Joe Biden got up in front of people this past summer and proclaimed that Roe v. Wade was the law of the land, have to realize that it was not. It never was. For 49 years, people talked about the legality of abortion without realizing that it was never passed as a federal law. It's just that all of the state laws decided, all of the states decided not to have illegal abortions anymore after the 1973 ruling, because they knew that if it was challenged in court, that they would lose. That's what Roe v. Wade did. Roe v. Wade was never a law. And when Roe v. Wade was repealed anyway, this past summer, the laws regarding abortion simply went back to the states, where it belongs. Different states can choose their own laws regarding abortion, including, if they wanted to, a complete and total ban. Now, not many states are going to do that. But the fact of the matter is, it's now the law of the land that the states can choose the laws they want for regarding abortion. The danger here is that if the Democrats retain control, or worse yet, increase it, in the House of Representatives in particular, but even the Senate would be an issue here. It would allow them to pass, and I know Joe Biden would sign it, a bill that would codify Roe v. Wade, to make legal abortion on demand the law of the land. Then it would be the law of the land, and then it would be an even bigger issue than it was for the last 49 years since the ruling that happened in January of 1973 by the Supreme Court. So let's flip the House. Let's flip the Senate. Let's do both of those things tonight, and then hopefully we're on our way to pushing back against the push towards communism in this country. It will slow the rate of inflation. We'll get the oil prices back down where they're supposed to be, end the supply chain crisis, fully fund our police departments, get crime reduced back to the levels where it was under the Trump administration, and look forward to the day when we can not only have this GOP, Congress and Senate, but also look forward to the 2024 presidential race, when hopefully President Trump can pull a Grover Cleveland. If you want to know what that means, just look up Grover Cleveland. Don't be a donkey of limited intelligence. Instead, be an intelligent donkey.